Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Coffee and Headlines. This is our daily get-together live here on Facebook every morning at 10:30, where we take a look at headlines, stories, comments, ideas, questions, suggestions, and how they relate to our lives here in Puerto Vallarta as an English-speaking population, an English-speaking community. It is always a pleasure to get together with you. And if you are new to these broadcasts, my name is Paco. We'd love to hear that you're new. So if you're kind enough to let us know by writing the word new in your comments, we will be so very glad to give you a proper welcome. Also, if you have important thoughts or questions that you may have that you would like to have addressed during the broadcast, please add the letter Q if you can, because that way we will look for it and we will address it during the show, or I will take a look at your comments shortly after the broadcast, which we always do. For those of you that are new, also, everything that we talk about today, we share links for in the show notes right after the broadcast. My handy assistant, Luna, takes care of that for me. So here we are. Let me take a quick look at who's here, because we always like to say hello. And I'm always fascinated and gratified by seeing people from all over the place. Trisha is in the house. I'm always happy to see you, Trisha, because you are such an important part of our local English-speaking community, and your points of view are very important to me. For those of you that don't know Trisha, she has a very successful Facebook group that everybody knows and loves. Everything, oh God, I always mess up the name, Trisha, but you are huge. Everybody knows you. If anybody wants to know the name of Trisha's board, please let me know, and we'll write it. But it is long, and I always forget the exact wording. Lisa is in the Malecon. Thank you very much for joining us, Lisa. Linda is in Montreal. How fun. Oh, this sounds so comfy and wonderful. Good morning from the rooftop pool at La Palapa. Jill, you make me green with envy, but in a very good way. Enjoy your time there. Enjoy the pool. I think I'm going to look for a pool today. I really will. Philadelphia's in the house. Michigan is in the house. Southern California is in the house. It's always great to see you guys. La 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 la. Ah. I love this. I was as flustered as a nail in steel magnolias. I'm sorry, that is just absolutely priceless. David, whatever was troubling yesterday, I hope you're not as flustered as a nail today. That is beautiful. Stonewall, Manitoba, Canada is in the house. Colorado is in the house. You guys are so awesome to join me this morning and every morning. No important questions as of yet. Volume is on the low side. Fine. Let us bring up the volume ever so slightly to make sure that we are all on the same page. La 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 la. It is snowing in Wyoming. How crazy is that? We're dying of heat down here in Puerto Vallarta. Can't wait to be here. Justin is coming to Puerto Vallarta. May you have a wonderful time that um, here when you come to Puerto Vallarta. Eilert comments on yesterday. Yes, we're going to touch base on that. We have some reactions to share. We have some stuff to unpack. Um, and we have a few notes to share. Question: does your water guy stand off stage and wait to blow his whistles until he hears the intro theme music to Coffee and Headlines? Absolutely, Logan. My window is over there, so as soon as I'm ready to start, I just stand by the window and I go dee 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 dee, and he knows to approach my window and do the appropriate blowing of the whistle, of course. Anyhow, here we go. Here we go. Let us get started. We don't have a lot of headlines today, but we have a lot of reaction from things that we've been talking about lately. Let us start very quickly with the development by Los Arcos. I have received a few emails about people, from people telling me that they think they know who is responsible, but we haven't seen it on anybody's website. How funny that these things happen and nobody seems to want to talk about who is actually responsible. There was a commentary on one of the local newspapers that links some of the people that have been involved with the dam in the Rio Los Orcones, and they link other individuals that own real estate projects here in town, but we don't know exactly who is behind this and what kind of authorizations they have received or not. Ultimately, this has to do with the federal government. I suppose it has to do with the municipal government as well. And as I told you yesterday, we're going to continue to keep an eye on that. I was also very touched yesterday about how many people reacted favorably to the Keith Jarrett story. Keith Jarrett being a very niche jazz pianist. I don't think Keith Jarrett is for everyone. And a lot of times I listen to music here at home, and I think to myself, I wonder how many people out there love this music as much as I do. So the fact that so many people reacted to his struggles with his health makes me feel a little bit less alone. Actually, makes me feel very, very much in good company. So I appreciated that. We'll get into the personal incident in a second, but let me first dive into a couple of headlines that I think are truly important, or at least they will be in the coming months. Let's take a look. Well, the first one should be important in the coming months. The second one will be important in the coming days. The first news item that I want to share is that the tourism secretary for the state of Jalisco has formally established an advisory tourism council here in Puerto Vallarta. What this council will do is to keep an open channel of communications between the Secretary of Tourism for the state, the municipality, the private sector, the academic sector, and the society at large to be able to take decisions related with tourism in the state in the context of our COVID-19 economic reactivation. How useful or how not useful, how influential or how not influential this council will be remains to be seen. But what is wonderful about this particular news item released by Noticias Pepe is that they actually list every single individual that is part of this council. And it is a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of everything. Again, these might be individuals that you may or may not know personally, or you may or may not know about. There is representation from Coparmex, which is the big business organization. There's representation from the Association of Business People in Puerto Vallarta. There's representation from Canirac, which is the restaurant organization. Also, the Zona Romántica Emiliano Zapata Neighborhood Association is involved. The Hotel Motel Association is involved. The Convention Center and the university are involved. So again, the airport administration is involved. The Secretary of Government for the state and the representative for our mayor is involved. So again, it is hopeful to think that this particular organization will actually be helpful, and we'll have to see what happens in the next few months as we continue to move through the economic reactivation for the destination. The other bit of news that I think is important is, and this will affect us probably in the near future, is that Governor Alfaro is meeting with his health council tomorrow to replantear, which means to reorganize the strategy for the state as it relates to this increasing surge of active cases that we seem to be having. A couple of people have referred to this as the moving goalpost, and it does seem to be a moving goalpost. We don't know exactly what they're going to talk about tomorrow, but more than likely on Sunday, we'll get a clear idea of, number one, how the numbers look. Number two, what would actually happen if this button gets pushed, and what the specific outcome of that emergency button would be. This is, of course, concerning because we are in the dark as far as what is going to be happening with the state. And again, we'll keep an eye on this as we move forward, and I will definitely keep us all informed. Now, I would like to talk briefly, well, it won't be briefly because there's a lot of unpacking to do, about my statement yesterday. Yesterday, I was very, I was shaken. My hands were shaking after the broadcast. But I was very, very rewarded by the wonderful comments of support that I received from many of you, and the large number of people who told me that had been on similar situations in their lives, men and women, gay and straight. So these things can happen everywhere, and they can happen in a lot of places. And one particular individual reached out to me. That was Tom Findlay from Fridas Bar, the bar that I mentioned yesterday. And I would like to bring up his comment because I think it deserves a little bit of attention. And this is what I got from Tom. Paco, I hope after 19 years you have learned to love Bar Frida. We care very much for the safety of our customers, but your comments may turn some people away. Please come and visit our new location. We need your support as we finish our 20th year. Okay, so I'd like to unpack this phrase by phrase because there's a lot of stuff to chew on here. And let's start with the first one. Paco, I hope after 19 years you have learned to love Bar Frida. I hope I was clear yesterday, but what I shared yesterday had very little to do with Bar Frida. Yesterday, I chose to show some empathy and try to comfort a member of this community who was in pain. And I chose to volunteer a possible path of recovery by sharing my personal experience. What was my personal experience? My personal experience was that I brought home two people that I shouldn't have brought home. Where did I meet them? At Frida's, but I could have met them anywhere. Ultimately, the one responsible for what happened is myself because I made the choice to go outside of that bar and bring these two individuals to my home. So this has very little to do with Bar Frida. It has a lot more to do with empathy, which is something that is really big here at Coffee and Headlines. I believe that takes care of the first statement. But I will say that because you seem to think that it was about Bar Frida, we're going to make it about Bar Frida. Second statement, we care very much for the safety of our customers, but your comments may turn some people away. Let me break that one into two parts. We care very much for the safety of our customers. I have no reason to disbelieve that, Tom. Actually, I believe that very much so. But here's what happens. I've been a reporter many years, and I remember going out to talk to restaurants and asking restaurants, well, what do you think makes you unique? And you have no idea how frequently restaurants answer with something along the lines of, well, we serve the freshest of ingredients. Well, guess what? Every single restaurant is supposed to serve the freshest of ingredients, just like every single hotel is supposed to have a bed in their rooms, and every single bar is supposed to care about the safety of their patrons. You see, Tom, this is not about Bar Fridas, because you may not know this, but shit happens at every bar because there's alcohol in bars. Great memories happen at many bars. And great times happen at many bars, but drugs happen at bars, sex happens at bars, crime happens at bars, brawls happens at bars, and everybody knows that, and there's very little to do between the reality of the bars and what I said yesterday during the broadcast. So it is about your bar, but it really isn't about your bar, Tom. It's about everybody's bar. The second half of this, my comments may turn some people away. Oh, I have really good news for you, Tom. I really doubt this will happen, and I'm going to tell you why. It all boils down to demographics. You see, here's my audience. The vast majority of my demographic is women that are 65 years of or older. In fact, I get more women in my show than I get men. You'd think that because I'm a gay man, I get a lot of guys. No, I get more women. I do allow myself to be a little foofy because, duh, I happen to be gay. And because I happen to be broadcasting from home. And I'll be darned if I cannot get a little foofy from my own home. But the reality is, Tom, is I don't get a lot of gay guys. So I really don't think your business will suffer from my comments. In fact, if I had more gay guys in our audience, you'd think that somebody would have asked me out on a date or something. After all, I may be a little old and I may be a little pudgy around the waist, but I'm a really nice guy. I can carry conversations in two topics, in English and in Spanish. And even though I'm a little weird, I'm sure I'm not the only guy that smells his own farts with relief knowing that I don't have COVID. So, I'm dateable and nobody has asked me out yet. So don't think for a second that my audience is going to interfere with your patronage. I'll tell you what does have to do with whether people choose to cater to your bar or not, because I read this on the manual. People choose to cater to businesses because businesses either deliver on their promise or not. Number two, because businesses are able and willing to wow their clients by going beyond the call of duty. And number three, people cater to businesses based on the reaction those businesses have to adverse situations or when shit happens. And shit happens, Tom. Shit has happened before and shit will happen again. So, I can't control how you run your business. I can't control how you react to adversity. All I can do is talk about my experience. And again, my experience had very little to do with your bar. Let me see what's next. Please come and visit our new location. Okay, yes, I would love to do that, Tom. And I will next time I crave the experiences that Frida offers. And in my mind, Frida offers 4 very specific, amazing experiences. Number 1, Frida is an awesome neighborhood bar where one can find completely ordinary and mundane people talking about completely ordinary and mundane topics. And I think that is absolutely wonderful. Number two, your bar offers a great cuisine, very affordably priced. And I've had the pleasure of enjoying a meal or two or three. The steaks are delightful at your bar on occasion. Number three, while at times the clientele of Frida, the clientele is ordinary. The clientele of Frida is also pretty freaky. So let me tell you, your bar is excellent for people watching, and you should know that. And number four, last but not least, your bar is like no other when it comes to gay men wanting to explore the world of chacales, chichifos, and mayates. And these are three very unique, very fascinating tribes that are equally fascinating as they are sexy and alluring and as they are dangerous. Now, you seem to not mind this dangerous or colorful clientele because you've let it come into your bar for 20 years and your patrons don't seem to mind it because you haven't stopped it. You've been complacent about it. If you had wanted a different kind of bar or a different kind of atmosphere, you've had 20 years to target your audience differently. So I don't see why my talking about my experience outside of your bar has anything to do with your bar. Now, I have had the pleasure to visit your bar in the last, say, 4 years, as much or as little as I visit any bar, because most of my friends know that I don't go to bars. Bars are just not my thing, you know? I mean, oh, let me stop about this, because some people may want a crash course on this. Let's do that on Sunday. Let's do that on Sunday for Sunday Fundays. So as I was saying, Tom, and I'm almost done with this to get back to the rest of the program. I don't go to bars much, Tom, but I've gone to your bar. I've gone to your bar. I go to other bars too. I go to Chachalaca, and I go to Apaches. They are my friends. They are fun bars, and they are supportive of me. Which brings me to the final point in your remark, and I really do want to touch base on that because, at the fear of sounding whiny, you say, we need your support as we finish our 20th year. Well, Tom, I know that you are in the business of selling cocktails. I am in the business of sharing news and headlines with the English-speaking community in Puerto Vallarta, which is, by the way, the only demographic that I'm interested in. If I get some gay guy coming to date me, that would be great. Luna, not now. I know I'm a giant in the bedroom, or so the last guy said, but that's irrelevant. Shut up. What I'm trying to say here, Tom, is that when it comes to support, support goes two ways. And I have to say this, Tom, but I think in the last 4 years, I have bought more beers at your business than you have bought coffees in mine in the last 6 months. I checked my records. So before you ask me personally for support, you may want to share some support back at me because I am a local business too. And I am struggling too. To wrap this whole thing up, I want to go back to empathy, and I want to say that the best thing that happened yesterday is that the two individuals for whom I chose to share my personal life got back to me, and they felt a little bit of healing. So I'm grateful for yesterday because yesterday I had the opportunity to be helpful and useful to someone. I have said a few words of encouragement for people to visit your business today. Your business has great things to offer, Tom. So maybe you'll offer some kind remarks about my business at some point in the future. Let us turn now to the weather. It's hot, it's hot, it's hot. It's almost the end of the month and it's still hot. It's 27 degrees Celsius. Feels like 31. It is 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Humidity is a little lower, just a little bit, 87%. There's a 5% chance of precipitation right now. Uh, our news are a little bit snarky today, and I think we all know what the political affiliation of Carrot Weather is. Carrot Weather says Borat tried to lure me into a honey trap too, but I don't think it's news that I find toasters sexually attractive. The weather forecast for today is, let's see, we see that it's going to be, oh, what am I doing? I'm switching the wrong buttons. Possible light rain in the morning for today. Let us hope that that is the case. High of 31 degrees. Tomorrow, Friday, humid and partly cloudy through the day with a high temperature of 31. And on Saturday, it's going to be humid through the day, high temperature of 32. Let me go back to my big screen. Dun, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. I am going to take a quick look at your comments just because that is always fun. Hold on just a second. I don't see, I see a lot of comments. I don't see a lot of questions with a Q on them. No questions with a Q. Okay, no questions with a Q. So I am going to, oh, how sad. I went to Frida's with my boyfriend and was informed that it was a gay bar and we were not welcome. Well, that's not for me to defend. Um, so I'm sure that Tom is watching because he told me that he watches almost every day. So if Tom wants to defend that, it's entirely up to it. I mean, up to him, not up to me. Let's see. In terms of recreational news, oh, I have something really wonderful to share. Let us all add this to the bucket list because yesterday, Governor Enrique Alfaro published um, these beautiful photographs of the ruins at Huachimontones, which are actually on the way from Puerto Vallarta to Guadalajara. This is definitely on my bucket list. This is the only or one of the few circular pyramids in Mexico. And there's a whole research center there. I've never been, but look at that pyramid. It is completely unique. And here's a rendering of what the location may have looked like, including a courageous Papantla flyer sitting next to it. And in case you are wondering where this will be or where this happens to be, there is Guadalajara City, there is Huachimontones. The highway, the toll highway coming from Puerto Vallarta is this one up here. And the other highway coming, the mountain highway from Puerto Vallarta, is this one here. So it is only a small detour if you're heading to Guadalajara City by car. I hope one of this day I will get to it. And I hopefully will be able to share more specific personal information about it. Um, a few weeks ago, we talked about Barbie creating a Frida. Well, Disney couldn't stand still, and Disney has come up with a mini Katrina. Not Barbie had a Barbie Katrina, not a Barbie Frida, a Barbie Katrina. And here is mini Katrina. Do I want it? No. Do I like it? No. But hey, at least we're getting people aware of our own culture elsewhere. If um, if if anything, it's kind of rodenty. But what can I say? Moving on with leisurely stuff, I want you to know that I'm personally happy because the Matrix trilogy is coming to Matrix. It's coming to Netflix at the beginning of the month. So this is something I haven't watched in a long time. What a good time to be binging on the Netflix trilogy. Something else that is coming soon to Netflix, and we talked about this briefly not too long ago, is Ryan Murphy's adaptation of the Prom, a musical in which I don't know the plot exactly, but I think, I mean, let's see, I'm going to read this briefly. Uh, Dee Dee Allen and Barry Glickman Our New York City stage stars with a crisis on their hands. Their expensive new Broadway show is a major flop that has suddenly flatlined their careers. Meanwhile, in small town Indiana, high school student Emma Nolan is experiencing a very different kind of heartbreak. Despite the support of the high school principal, the head of the PTA has banned her from attending the prom with her girlfriend. So apparently, the cast of this musical comes in to save the day. I have watched this trailer, and it is absolutely spectacular. I forget the exact date in which this opens on Netflix, but it's going to open soon. I encourage everybody to watch this, and of course, this will be in the show notes. Last but not least, as far as things to share with you today, and this is politics aside, that one and only, oh my God, and I should know her name. The one and only Jennifer Hudson. Thank you. The one and only Jennifer Hudson delivered a stunning rendition of Tomorrow, the classic song from Annie, as part of a Joe Biden fundraiser. And it was absolutely priceless. If you want to hear and see something hopeful, I totally recommend that you spend 4 minutes watching this. And this pretty much brings me to the end of Coffee and Headlines for today. Let me take a quick look at some comments that I that I want to see. Let's see. I am skipping the Frida's comments because you don't need for me to put them up here again. But I will put this one on the screen because this is exactly what I was hoping from yesterday. This had very little to do with the bar. This has everything to do with empathy. And I think in 2020, in Puerto Vallarta, as we, and the rest of the world, as we reinvent our personal lives and as we reinvent our business lives and our business offerings, empathy is a major keyword. Kathleen can't wait for the carrot weather's comments every day. That makes two of us. Christy asks, what's the status of the Mexican wine interview with Nina et al.? The answer is they offered so much juicy information that I'm still editing it, but I have to volunteer some wonderful piece of news. Christy, thanks to the kindness of a member of here, Coffee and Headlines of the community, we have acquired 2 bottles of Taco Bell jalapeno noir. And we will be doing a public reaction to the wine. We're still figuring out what we're going to pair it with. It may be a bowl of Doritos. It may be some melted cheese. I don't know, but we're definitely going to be addressing this sometime in the near future. Paul asks, did anyone see the Cher Piñata getting a tan at Blue Chairs yesterday? What? I have no idea what that is. But thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. Pilar tells us that the ruins are amazing. Thank you very much for that, Pilar. Jill says the same thing. Angelica says the same thing. Beehive pyramids were also the first ones built in Egypt. Thank you very much for that, Gina. Teen, tarin, tan, teen, tan, teen. Let's see. Cultural appropriation. Well, yeah, cultural appropriation, that's for sure. Go Biden. Oh my God, things in the United States. Let us hope for peaceful next couple of weeks. I I asked yesterday, still curious, who won the plane? Gayoff, where have you been? The plane was not won by anybody, and that's part of the problem. It was a price of God knows how many millions. I think there were 100 tickets that won like 22 millions each. And the last I read about this, there were still a few unclaimed tickets left out there. So the plane is still sitting there, and it's still costing the government some money. Thank you for that invitation. Michael offered an invitation privately to do the wine tasting, the Taco Bell wine tasting at Poblanos. We would love to do it at Poblanos, and that'll be the case. In fact, we may be able to invite a few choice friends. Of course, this is, we are concerned about capacity and as it relates to COVID-19, but we will definitely keep you posted on that. La 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 la. Melted Velveeta with a jalapeno noir sounds divine. And Kimberly says, yes, 2020 is about reinventing ourselves. Absolutely. Absolutely. Please do the impersonation I mentioned this coming Sunday. If you mean my PBS impersonation, sure, I'll be happy to do that. I will be happy to do that. Let's see. Let's see. Well, I am at the end of the comments. Yes. Please follow up on the Los Arcos project. I'll be happy to do that, Mark, as it relates to our lives here in Puerto Vallarta. And we're done. We made it through another episode, another program, another broadcast of Coffee and Headlines. They're all different, and they're all unique, and they're all precious because you are here with us. You are here to provide us a path. You are here to share important topics to pursue. You are here to share comments, suggestions, and feedback. And you are here to create a wonderful community that I am so very grateful to be a part of. So today, if you found something useful, helpful, fun, inspiring, thought-provoking, or otherwise amusing, spread the word. Feel free to support. Although supporting, we all have different ways to support one another. You can choose how to support these projects. And I hope your day is kind. I hope your day is green and blue and wonderful. It'll be hot. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again soon.